waves of change are coming. The waves of change are here.
Hello and welcome to Fascia Moves. This practice is all about finding ground in our feet, in our lower legs, and really connecting to that power that can come from that earth energy. So if you have things happening in your life that might be pulling you from your center, like your center of gravity all of a sudden changes because of changes in life, like happening for me right now, this is a great practice. This is a great practice if you just want a simple way to release the low back through the feet. This is a great practice if you're just needing some grounding in your life, if your life is starting to feel a bit like heady and you want to feel your stance, where you stand, and the intelligence that comes from your feet. This is a great practice. And all you need is a ball. This can be a tennis ball, any myofascial release ball, and that is it. I will say we will be coming to the knees a bit for this practice. So if your knees are sensitive, you'll want to add some extra padding and bring a blanket. And we will begin. So before we do anything, we're going to assess how our fascia feels right now. And this is just a simple observation. No need to judge. We just lovingly observe how the fascia in our back body feels. And we're going to do a simple forward fold. Arms relaxed, knees soften, head starts, and roll over your legs as far as you're able to. And it's not about how far you reach. It's really about noticing how the fascia in the back body feels right now. And then we'll reverse that, coming back up, rolling to a stance. All right. We're going to start with some ankle rolls. Ground into the left foot, right toes to the earth, and 8 circles in one direction. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Other direction. Really let your toes move with this, your knees and your hip. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we're going to lift the right foot and draw 8 circles with the toes in the air. Arms relaxed. Continue to connect to your breath, and we'll start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Other direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now release that. You might be feeling your foot tucking, your left foot, so you can feel, shake it out. Oh yeah. And now we're going to bring this to the ground. We're going to come to your knees, and right knee comes to the earth, and then left foot comes up. I'm going to bring the fingertips behind and lift your heart up. You can tent up onto your fingertips. And now focusing on the front of the right foot, we're going to lift the right knee a little, get the stretch of the front of the foot, and lower back down. We'll do that a few more times. Keep lifting the chest. Breathing here and lower. And lower, and a few more. And we're going to bring hands back to forward. We're going to come to hands and knees, and this is where you'll grab your ball, and we're going to travel along the shin. So right here, there's this muscle called the anterior tibialis. And that's the fascia that we're going to be lovingly listening to with a ball. So hands and knees, bringing the ball towards the bottom of the knee, top of the anterior tibialis. Have your hands on your shoulders relaxed. And then just allowing your weight to slowly sink into the ball here. And you can move the rest of your body, swaying around that sensation. And now bring the ball a little bit further down the shin. Connect again to hands under shoulders. And now let your weight drop into that sensation of where the ball is. And then you can sway your spine side to side, move along that point. And then we'll bring the ball a little bit further down. Same thing, ground with your hands. Breathe here. And sway. Bring the ball further down, shin. And continue that gentle movement with the spine. And now here, we're going to keep the ball where it's up. So to draw your knee up toward your chest, so the ball's rolling down towards the ankle until you get to the top of your foot. And then roll it back up the shin. Bring your knee back towards where it was. We'll do that a few times. Knee up towards your chest. Knee comes back, letting the ball roll up and down. Great. And now we're going to do that same thing of rolling the ball up and down the shin, but now bring the ball back to under the knee, the top of the anterior tibialis. Ground through your hands. And then draw the knee toward the chest. So now the ball is going to the top part. And then knee comes back down. Knee towards the chest. It's really towards the right arm. And back down. And we'll do one more. And great. So now we're going to come into, just to put the ball to the side for now. We're going to bring our legs into 90-degree angles. The right leg is in front. So right leg at a 90-degree angle. Left leg's behind at a 90-degree angle. And from here, we're going to bring the ball towards the outer compartment of the fascia. And we'll start at the part that's closest to the knee. So you can use your fingers right here to feel the top of the fibula, the fibular head here, is where we're going to place the ball. And hands on either side of the right knee. And once the ball is there, you can adjust where your body is and decide you can lean a little forward. That can bring more sensation. And then point and flex your foot. And then we'll bring the ball a little bit further down. Chest can lift. And then point and flex your foot. And again, bring it further down. Point and flex. And continue. Connecting to your breath, softening jaw and shoulders. And bring the ball a bit further down. Point and flex. And are you getting close to the ankle? So once we're right above the ankle, and point and flex again. Great. And now bring the ball back to where we started. And we're going to jostle the knee to the right and to the left. Get a little bit of rolling action going here. And then come back to center, and then we'll bring the ball into the middle part of the outer right leg. And right knee to the right, and then to the left. And make that action. It's almost like a violin. Make music with your hips. And then a little bit further down until you can get to the lower part. And roll. And we'll come back to our hands and knees, and we're going to bring the ball behind our right knee. So, just standing on your knees, place it into that little pocket. And here, you can really gauge what amount feels okay for your knee. If this is starting to feel like a lot of work for your thighs, you can bring your left foot to the floor to help gauge how far you go down. But for my body, I'm going to bring my hands down in front. That's another option. And once I'm to the depth that feels good, I use this sway hips side to side. So I recommend actually coming onto both knees, because what we're going to do is we're going to bring the ball further down, and that might start to get, no, I guess not. You decide. Challenging if the left foot's still there. So here, now I'm moving towards the middle part of my calf, and it's also a nice hamstring release as well. And I'm swaying my hips side to side, and then bring the ball further down, getting into the Achilles. My fingers are tented up and sway side to side. So the area we're going to here is called the soleus, the gastrocs, all these great muscles in the calf. And then continue to roll the ball down. Sway hips side to side. And now here, can take some time to go back and just find any points along that feels like, oh yeah, I want to stay there for a few breaths. I loved learning that the soleus in our calf is like the heart of our legs, because it helps bring the blood back up and circulate. And so I just think that's beautiful to think of some hearts, extra hearts in our calf muscles. All right. So now we're going to come to a seat for a moment to look at the brilliance of our right foot before we come back up to a stand. So however you can do that, of gazing lovingly. You can have your knees pretty spread, whatever's available for you to look at your feet. And so looking at the right foot, noticing the architecture of your foot. So we have 26 bones in our feet. Amazing. So that articulation is so sophisticated. So we're going to start by looking at this called the transverse arch. I'm going to bring my foot real close. So the transverse arch goes from under the big toe mound across to under the pinky toe mound. So not the ball of the foot, but under. That's one arch. And then there's the lateral arch from the pinky toe mound down towards the heel. And then there's the medial arch from the big toe mound down towards the heel. So those are the three arches that we're going to release with the ball. And give a little more love and massage to your right foot, thanking your foot for all the places it's brought you. And we'll come to a stand. So starting with that transverse arch. The left foot is behind, so you get a little leverage there. And then bring your right foot a little forward. Then bring the ball under the right big toe mound. Arms are relaxed. And then bring weight into the ball. Let it sink. And then slowly roll your ball to the pinky toe. And we'll do that a few times. So the direction here, we start with the big toe mound, that transverse arch. Sink there. Breathe. Feel the ground under your left foot. And then roll the ball toward the pinky, under the pinky mound. Great, and we'll do one more. And the key here, so I'm mimicking what we do with hands in my sessions with my clients. We first sink. We sink into the fascia lovingly, and then we direct the fascia with the awareness and intent. So our intent is this transverse arch from the big toe mound towards the pinky. And you can try bringing in some toe movement here if you'd like. That can be nice. As you roll towards that pinky side. Oh yeah, great. And now we're gonna go to the lateral arch. So from where we just were, that pinky toe mound, we're gonna sink there and leverage with the back leg, press, sink, and then bring the ball towards the heel. Great. We'll do that a few more times. And waking up all this amazing sensation in the feet. Especially if it's wintertime and you're having to wear shoes a lot. This is so important. Okay. Yeah. So now, you guessed it, the medial arch from the big toe mound toward the heel. Go ahead and lovingly sink into this spot and roll toward the heel. A few more times. This is so good too for people who are pregnant. All the different changes in our feet, in our grounding, in our center of gravity. But really, this is good for anyone with feet. Okay, so now we're going to bring the ball just from the toes toward the heel, down the middle. Starting at the toes, ground through the back leg, and arms relaxed, and roll right down the middle of the foot towards the heel. And I'll do that a few more times, again from toes toward the heel. And again. Alrighty. So before we move on, this is so important, is to just stand here for a moment and notice. Notice if your right foot feels any different. Does it feel different than the left? Does it feel different than from before we started? And again, we're just observing without judgment or expectation and being curious. And we're going to do that forward fold again. So leading with the head, roll spine down towards feet. And we just notice if there is a difference between the right side and the left. And then roll back up. Oh. Again, no right or wrong here, but that was quite different for my body between my right side and left. I have more length in my right side, and my legs felt like they had more length as well. One more thing we'll test out is, how does it feel to balance on the right foot now? So lift the left knee up and just do some movements. Any sort of dance move with right foot on the ground. And then we'll see what it feels like to be on the left. Again, no right or wrong, but just how does it feel? Does it feel similar? Different? And we'll go back down. So for me, I was noticing my right ankle had a lot more freedom than my left because I hadn't done the release yet. And so because of that, I felt like I could balance with those awesome dance moves a bit better than my left. So let's move on to the left side. Grounding down with the right foot, left toes come up. 8 circles one direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Other direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can soften your right knee a bit. As you now lift your left knee, draw a circle with your toes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Other direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, now we're going to come to our hands and knees. Bring your right foot to the ground. Staying on your left knee. Fingers come behind, tenting up or stretching at the top of the left foot. And lift the left knee and lower. Keep lifting chest up. Lift left knee and lower. And a few more. Breathe in here. Great, and we'll come back to hands and knees. Going to the front of the shin. We'll bring the ball toward the top of the anterior tibialis, just under the left knee. Hands under shoulders. So you get a nice balance of ground. And then once you find that spot, then you can sink weight down into the ball and then rotate your spine, waves, almost snake-like pattern. And we'll bring the ball further down the shin again. hands under shoulders, and rotate around that or that place. And again, bring the ball further down the shin. Breathe and soften elbows, and then undulate the spine. Bringing it a little bit further down the shin and sink. Breathe. Undulate. And then here, we're going to keep the ball where it's at. Bring the left knee forward, rolling the ball down the shin towards the top of the ankle. And then bring the knee back to where you started, and do that a few more times. Okay, and now we're going to bring the ball back to where the top of the anterior tibialis is, just under the knee. Hands under shoulders, and now bring your left knee towards the front or towards your left arm, and then back down, rolling the ball the segment of the anterior tibialis. Oh yeah. And another. And release. So we're going to come to that 90-degree angle with the left leg in front, right leg behind, and 90 degree. I've heard this called a cheerleader pose, cheering on your fascia. So bring the ball under so find that fibular head, and we'll travel along the lateral compartment. And we'll start sink here. You can have both hands on either side of the left leg, and then point and flex your left foot. Best you can, just remember while we do this to relax shoulders and relax jaw, back into breath. And I'll bring the ball further down. Point and flex. Pull the ball further down. Point and flex. Sending love into the fascia of your legs. Bring the ball further down and point and flex. And now we're getting close to where the ankle is. Point and flex. I'm being reminded of one of my longtime clients when I asked him to point and flex. Do the deal. Point and flex. So that was just popped into my mind right there. Thought I'd share with you. You can add that in as well. Point and flex. Okay, so we're going to bring the ball back up towards where we started, under the fibula, and then bring the left knee to the left, and then back to where we started. And violin playing. And I'll bring the ball further to the middle of the shin. Same thing. Playing the strings of your legs and your hips. And a little bit further down. And a few more breaths here. Feel free to place the ball anywhere else along this lateral area of the lower leg. And we'll now come to standing on the knees. We're going to place the ball behind the left knee. And come back to sit. Again, you can put the right foot to kind of leverage and help with that lowering if that feels good in your body. And always, always, always take care of your knees. If you need to put more padding, as I mentioned at the beginning of class, or back off of any of the cues I'm offering to listen to your brilliant body and what your body is communicating to you today. We're going to come to the back of the knee for a few breaths and sway the hips side to side. And now bring the ball a little bit further down the calf and sit back as much as feels like you're sinking. But this should not ever feel like excruciating pain. So we want to lovingly, gently go to a depth where we can still breathe and relax the rest of our body, not bracing. And sway hips. Come up, bring the ball a little bit further down. And sway. Come up. Now we're getting toward the Achilles. And we're coming back up, lower back, down. Sway hips side to side. And now we're getting pretty close to the heel. And now you can travel back to any place along that pathway that felt like, oh yeah, I want to go back there and listen a bit more and bring the ball a bit further back. Or wherever you need to bring it. That was my own internal dialogue. I'm listening to myself. So I hope you're just listening to you in that moment. And well, complete. So now we're going to look at our left foot lovingly. And again, assess those three arches. Like, oh, there's the big toe mound. And under that, going towards the pinky, is that transverse arch. From the pinky down towards the heel is the lateral arch. So then transverse, the lateral, and then from the big toe mound towards the heel, there's the medial arch. What brilliant design to hold our entire body up vertically in gravity. These feet do so much. And there's so much tensegrity, tensional integrity. So now let's bring the ball to our left foot. We'll come back to a stand. And balancing now, or leveraging with the right foot behind. We're going to bring the ball under the big toe mound of the left foot. Arms relax. And slowly sink. And soften the right knee too. And slowly roll the ball towards the pinky toe mound. We'll come back, sink under the big toe mound, and then roll towards that pinky few more. And so if you don't have much time, you could always just simply do this part, have a tennis ball, any ball, and roll along these 3 arches. It's so helpful and so easy. Just can be hard to remember to do. So if you're at your office, just do that real quick between emails, or, if you're with your kids and they've got all sorts of different balls that they play with, use one for your feet. Okay, so now we're going to go from the pinky toe mound, the lateral arch towards the heel. Rolling. Oh, yeah. And again. And again. Now we'll go to that medial arch from the big toe mound towards the heel. Breathing. And what we're doing here, it's so cool about fascia, is that it's all connected. So there is the back line of the fascia that goes all the way from the bottom of our feet up the back of our calves, hamstrings, back, all the way to our forehead. So by rolling what we're doing right now, so we'll do now from the toes toward the heel, we're lengthening the whole back line just by doing our feet. It's very efficient. So that's maybe why, if you did feel any difference when we assessed after at the right side. Another thing, we're continuing again to roll from the toes toward the heel. The directionality is important. So we want to lengthen that direction. Toes toward the heel. The brilliance of fascia is when we bring movement and pressure there, it wakes up all these neurons and connections. So proprioception is our ability to know where our body is in space without our visual sight. And we have a lot of proprioceptive neurons in our feet, of course, because it's furthest from our eyes. So when we wake up our feet rolling, we have more balance. We have more proprioception. So if you can't tell, I'm quite passionate about the fascia of the feet. Okay. So now we'll feel. Now that we've done both left and right sides, noticing as you stand here, how does this feel now in your body? And we'll roll forward, head relax, arms relax, forward fold. And just noticing here. And slowly reverse that, rolling back up to a stand. Does that feel more balanced side to side for you? And now we'll bring the weight into our left foot to balance. Here's your opportunity to improv any awesome dance moves, yoga moves, martial arts moves. And so we can start to really play with how far off from balance can we play with. And it's okay to fall, but that's bringing in more of our capacity of balance and returning to our ground. So now we'll balance again on the right. Just know that they're both released. How do your feet feel? Shake it out. Shake your legs. And we're going to come to a seat, or we're going to actually come all the way to the ground for a little integration. So coming to your backs, Please bend, giving yourself a moment to acknowledge the time you took today. You can bring your fingertips to the base of your skull. Good. And slightly turn your head side to side. Just letting go of any need to do anything, learn anything, and to just allow all of that to settle. Bring your head back to the earth. Fingertips come toward the space between the eyebrows, the middle of the forehead, and we're going to trace an arch up and over along our forehead toward our temple. Temples on both sides, massaging the forehead. Do that a few times. Soft fingers, softening the eyes. And now alongside the nose, tracing along the cheekbones up toward the temples. Do that a few times. Paintbrushes, gently moving the water, the lymph, fascia of the face. Now from the temples, tracing down the jawline. And from the temples down the jaw. And then from under the chin, under the lip, tracing the jawline up toward under the ears a few times. And place your left hand on your heart, right hand in your belly. Do 3 breaths here. Now roll into a side of choice and enjoy a breath there. Place your top hand into the earth. Reach your top leg long, slowly. There, head relax as you come back up to a seat. And allowing yourself a moment to arrive to verticality once again and thanking yourself, thanking your fascia for the time you took today to practice this fascia moves for the lower legs and the feet. May you continue your day, your evening, feeling more connected to the ground beneath you. Thank you so much.
The waves of change have always been so real.